The Florida State Seminoles likely woke up feeling the cheesiest. 35-32 get a big victory over the Oklahoma Sooners in the Cheez-It Bowl. And all jokes and snacks aside, this is a big deal for Mike Norvell and his program. They get to 10 wins, and we're going to talk more about the future of this team a little bit later in this segment. But how about Florida State getting it done last night, man? It was back and forth. They got down early, 14-3, found a way to climb back into it, never said die. And I just want to make sure I emphasize this. This, to me, feels very much so like the exclamation mark on the new era of Florida State football under Mike Norvell. Like, think back when he took the job and what the perception of Florida State was. Kind of a iffy culture, weren't sure if they could finish games, all this, that, and the other. So much negative connotation around this program internally. And I will just throw this out there. When you're down 14-3, you can't hide who you are. It's just the fact of the matter. You can't pretend to be something you're not when you're down 2 scores in your last game of the season. Because that's also a point where you find out what's under the hood. When it's the last game of the year, non-New Year's Six bowl game against a good team in Oklahoma who's shown they have flashes, they've got a lot of talent, didn't really put it together so much this year. We'll talk more about them in another video. But I was just so impressed by Florida State and the new version of what they appear to be under Mike Norvell. Because I had my reservations coming into the season. Missed a bowl game last year, just barely. And I was starting to wonder, is he the guy? Is Mike Norvell going to be the guy to lead you forward as Florida State? I think this season and last night was a microcosm of why this team going forward is going to be a force within the ACC, yes, but I think nationally, we're going to talk about them next year being ranked somewhere in the top 15, if not the top 10, to start the whole thing off. So for Florida State, they showed again who they are. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, man, now's the time. I'm telling you, recruiting season, turning up the heat, the transfer portal, it's open, it's popping. You're going to want to make sure that you're locked in with us here on the Hard Count on the On3 YouTube channel. Also, follow me on the socials at JD Piquel on Twitter and on Instagram. We go live on this channel on Tuesdays and on Thursdays, 1 Central, 2 Eastern on both days. We have a lot of interaction on those social media platforms that we can then incorporate into this whole program. So we appreciate you in advance for doing that. Jordan Travis, you can't say enough good things about him. It is my firm belief that successful football programs are, as an organization, feed off of the quarterback. And I don't think we have a better example of that in college football than what Florida State showed last night with Jordan Travis. I mean, 400-plus yards, 27 for 38. He was limping around at times. He was running the football, had 2 touchdowns passing. Like, what he did last night for Florida State, from where I was sitting, looked like he just willed that football team time and time and again, especially when they got down early. Felt like he just settled everybody down and then turned up the heat and said, all right, now we go. Now we go. Like, you could tell on the sideline, everybody fed off of him. Everybody fed off of what 13 was bringing to the table. And another guy, similar to my thoughts about Mike Norvell coming into the year, I was saying, I don't know if you can win with Jordan Travis, man. Good athlete, good story. I love what he brings to the table for you, running the football, but throwing the football, I mean, come on. I got to see it to believe it here a little bit. And this season, all Jordan Travis did was take the next step as a passer, take the next step as a quarterback, and embodies everything about this Florida State program that is different from years previous. Elite competitor, leader, gritty. Like I said, he was limping around out there a little bit in the second half of that game, just making plays happen. Johnny Wilson, a huge day last night, or a huge game last night, rather. 8 receptions, 200-plus yards. Had that freakish you got mossed catch where he switched hands over to set up the game-winning field goal. Like, this Florida State program has a lot under the hood from a talent perspective, but I'm telling you, Jordan Travis is the straw that stirs the drink. And I think the interesting thing when you listen back to that press conference last night was the response that Florida State had to winning that game. Listen, bowl games being meaningless, I think, is just a made-up thing that fans like to talk about for an excuse to not watch games like last night. Jordan Travis and that program, they were very, very excited to win. Obviously, they're going to enjoy it. But Jordan Travis said something interesting last night where he said, we know who we are. Now we got to continue to build on this. There was a lot of gratitude for winning, and there was a lot of, hey, good for us, getting to 10 wins. That's big. But Jordan Travis was like, this is a building block. This is what it is. Nobody came here to be Cheez-It Bowl champions. We came here to win the ACC and compete for college football playoff aspirations and play for national titles. That is the standard here at Florida State. And I was very impressed by how they carried themselves last night. I think that told us a lot about the direction of this program under Mike Norvell. And the culture, to me, is elite in Tallahassee. And you're starting to see the benefits of it. Because I'll tell you this, it's been elite for a while. We're just now seeing the mechanism really start to kick up. Like you and I both know, whenever something gets fixed, whether it's an appliance or it's an electronic, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. As soon as it gets fixed, what do they always tell you? Hey, let it run for a little bit. Hey, we just fixed your pipes. Go ahead and turn on the water. Let it run for a while. Should be good to go in a few. Mike Norvell came to this program, and when you got Mike Norvell in the building, that was the equivalent of getting the culture fixed. Now, it took some time. You had to let it run. But Mike Norvell's culture, in my opinion, is why they're going to be so good in the years to come. They asked him last night, how big is it a deal to get to 10 wins? And he's like, I told our guys, that's great to get to 10 wins, but we're not focused on a number. We're focused on the internal. We're focused on getting better each and every day. And it's cliche and it's coach speak. And I hear you if you're complaining about that. I think it's fair to say. But I would just say this, coach speak is not equal across the board. You have coaches that talk about just giving blanket answers and not really giving you anything if you're in that press conference. And then you have coaches that will actually deflect from the result and go back to the internal process and focusing on the process. And I'll tell you what, I've said this before, a lot of coaches that compete for big-time hardware in January, the Sabans, the Smarts, they sound a lot like Mike Norvell. So I'm not saying Mike Norvell is Kirby Smart. I'm not saying Mike Norvell is Nick Saban. But I'm just telling you from an approach standpoint, if I'm a Florida State fan, I feel very encouraged about the direction of this program. And last night, like I said, is an exclamation mark on it. The best thing I saw last night, one of their offensive linemen goes down. It's a tense moment. It's a tough injury. He gets carted off. And you see the entire Florida State program storm onto the field and wish him off. I mean, I got goosebumps, man. Like, that is special. It's mid-game. There's still a lot of football to be played. But an injury like that can either shake you or, as we saw with Florida State last night, they rallied around it, and rallied around it even feels like maybe I'm underselling their response to it. I mean, that's a culture built on love. That's a culture built on, I'm caring about my brother next to me. I like to say it for us here, I use the verbiage we, us, ours, meaning I care about us, I care about we, and I care about what is ours. And that was what I saw last night from Florida State. And that was really, really cool to get to witness that moment in real time. Special program at Florida State. 10 wins is great. They have their sights set on something much better, much shinier. Nonetheless, Florida State, your Cheez-It Bowl champions. That's it for us here in the Hard Count. Nick Break, lifting heavy. This is your show, man. I say it all the time. We're live on Tuesday. We're live on Thursday, 1 Central, 2 Eastern. Make sure you're locked in with us. Hit the bell. Make sure you're subscribed. We don't want you to miss a thing. They're telling you that we're going into the offseason because the games are ending. I promise you, it's just getting started, okay? We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.